After proffers from the Georgia election fraud case were leaked to the press, Americans saw Sidney Powell and Jenna Ellis flipping on their former boss, Donald Trump. So who leaked the tapes?
And I emphasized him. I thought that the claims and the ability to challenge the election results was essentially over, because he said to me in a kind of excited tone, well, we don't care and we're not going to leave. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, the boss, meaning President Trump, and everyone understood the boss, that's what we all called him. He said the boss is not going to leave under any circumstances. We are just going to stay in power. And I said to him, well, it doesn't quite work that way, you realize. And he said, we don't care.
Well, the judge needed to get to the bottom of things because leaks can really damage an active case before it even goes to trial. On Wednesday, the judge called an emergency court hearing regarding the leaked deposition footage, and a defense lawyer admitted that he did it.
But Judge, in being transparent with the court and to make sure that nobody else gets blamed for what happened, and so that I can go to sleep well tonight, Judge, I did release those videos to one outlet. And in all candor to the court, I need the court to know that.
Jonathan R. Miller III is representing a county election official charged with election tampering. He said, quote, with all candor, I did release those videos to one outlet. When asked why he did that, he basically said it was because he thought it helped his client.
On behalf of Ms. Hampton.
Judge, if I may, Ms. Hampton does not believe that an order is necessary, that this is one of the biggest cases the country has had, and that transparency is very important. Since I've been working with her for the last 2 years, she has always said that she wanted to be 100% transparent. And that is why we are opposed to having any kind of regulations on what we can expose and what we can't. But with that in mind, we will adhere to any court order that the court does, and will do so with diligence.
These leaks came after headlines that several Trump associates took plea deals regarding their role in the coup attempt, and Miller believed that the public was being misled about the reasons why those associates took those plea deals. He said, quote, to hide those proffers that show all the underlying things that went into those pleas misleads the public about what's going on. He seems to be suggesting that even though Jenna Ellis and Sidney Powell took plea deals, they're not necessarily admitting guilt. However, taking a plea deal sure looks like you're guilty to the public. Many Trump supporters have since suggested that Ellis, Powell, and others like them were coerced into taking the deals, backed into a corner, that kind of thing. Miller was good to confess to his wrongdoing. We're grateful that he did that much, but he's not too admirable beyond that. Since the 2020 election, he's fully embraced the stolen election conspiracy theory, filing lawsuits across the country in an attempt to get the 2020 election results overturned. His client, Misty Hampton, is accused of giving Trump associates illegal access to voting system computers in Coffee County, Georgia, during the 2020 election. The judge will rule on whether or not Miller will be punished for deliberately leaking information that he knew he wasn't supposed to leak to the press. That ruling will probably come later this week, but the point Miller was trying to push was that this case is extremely public. There's a lot of public interest, and the way the case is being covered in the media makes it look like the defendants are either guilty or just not likable people. Moreover, the way this case is covered in the press might impact the way Americans vote in November 2024. There's so much going on in the world right now that sometimes it's easy to forget that these things are still going on here at home. Not only that, but sometimes Trump news feels a little unimportant in the grand scheme of things. If you turn off your news or put your phone away, you can almost forget about him entirely. It's really nice. You should try it. But all that to say that things could have potentially gone very differently for us as a nation if he had gotten his way on January 6, 2021. We've seen it happen all over the world where leaders were elected democratically and then they just stayed in power long after their terms were up. It's happened in two of the globe's superpower nations, two of the US's largest and, depending on who you ask, most formidable competitors, both China and Russia. Netanyahu in Israel, his government weakened its judiciary and made it nearly impossible for Netanyahu to be removed from office. There is little preventing something similar from happening here. The safeguards we have in place, our precious checks and balances, our trusted and revered justice system, they were all tested by the Trump administration, not just on January 6th, but also in the months leading up to it and the years after. We're coming up on the 3-year anniversary of the insurrection at the Capitol, and while evidence has continued to come out implicating Trump, his staff members, and his supporters in what appears to have been knowing engagement in treason, Trump remains the top contender for the 2024 GOP nominee for president. Whether or not any of these revelations will deter Trump supporters from voting for him next year seems unlikely. They'll just continue to either deny, justify, or not care about any of his wrongdoing, his illegality, his divisive rhetoric, etc., etc. With Biden's rapidly dropping approval rating, especially among younger voters, due primarily to his unwavering stance on Gaza and Israel, 2024 will have to be hard fought if the Democrats hope to keep the White House. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this video, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and please check out my podcast, Modern Context. Thank you.